Hi everyone, welcome back to Scarack Truther. This video is a re-upload of a video I had 10 months ago. It was recently removed by YouTube a couple days ago because of so-called harmful conspiracy theories. While I respectfully disagree with this decision, I want to clarify a few things up front to avoid any further misunderstandings. First and foremost, I do not support the events of January 6, 2021. And I strongly condemn any form of violence, illegal activity, or attempts to overthrow any form of government institutions. Secondly, this video does not target, insult, or accuse any specific race, group, or individual of being responsible for the January 6 Capitol Hill riots. Instead, it critically examines how QAnon may have been used as a tool of deception by unknown actors to manipulate Americans and influence their actions during those events. Finally, I do not subscribe to or promote any form of QAnon beliefs. My intention with this video has always been to inform and raise awareness about how disinformation can shape public actions and opinions. I hope for everyone to be open-minded and willing to engage with this topic critically. It's frustrating for me to have to re-upload this video again, as this is now my third attempt to share it on this platform. The first attempt was made back in March of 2021. And then the second attempt was basically, I believe, last year. And I actually remade that video for the sole purpose of keeping it on YouTube. But nothing is accessible here on this platform anymore due to all the online censorship. So I sincerely hope that with this disclaimer, the video will remain accessible on YouTube. Thank you again for your support. And if you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you guys want to, you guys can follow and subscribe to my email newsletter, which you guys can find in the description of this video. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Do you guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
Maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out. Thank you very much. You'll find out.
The police removed the barriers. I saw the video. The police removed the barriers. So they were invited in. It was a trap that was set for the Trump supporters so that they could apply the narrative of terrorism. That's the label they get applied to it after they let them in and created this incident.
I'm just going to ask you some questions, and I want you to just tell me if it's nonsense or if there is anything to it at all.
As Roosevelt said, presidents are selected, not elected. The whole thing is generally controlled through Freemasonry. We can get onto that. But I believe Trump was placed there in order to appeal to the Republican Christian conservative base, and indeed he did. The QAnon was instrumental in that, and I cannot condemn it enough. To me, it is pure evil.
Operation Trust was a counterintelligence operation of the State Political Directorate, GPU, of the Soviet Union. The operation, which was set up by the GPU's predecessor, Cheka, ran from 1921, like I say, to 1926, set up a fake anti-Bolshevik resistance organization, Monarchist Union of Central Russia, in order to help identify real monarchists and anti-Bolsheviks.
The guy that pushed Trump to run and then cozied up next to InfoWars, Roger Stone, and they say, oh, he's rubbing elbows on the morning of the insurrection, of the storming of the Capitol. I click on the video, and all we see is a guy coming up to him and saying he loves him, and Roger Stone saying he's 100%.
You know I'm a Zionist, right?
There you go.
100% Zionist.
And then we have this paid crisis actor with his billboard saying QAnon sent me. QAnon, of course, was sponsored by the US government to confuse all of the American people into thinking that Donald Trump was gonna arrest the globalist elite. But of course, he never did.
And because I think this touches on certain key imagery and ideas that go back centuries, if not millennia. You can go back to 5th century Rome and the sacking of Rome and the Vandals and all of that. Very similar scenes and iconography actually playing out to what took place.
Number one, did President Trump ever sign into action the Insurrection Act?
No. Nonsense.
Nonsense.
Charlottesville was a setup. The police pushed the white boys into the arms of Antifa when they should have separated them. We just had last week in India a man with a turban and waving some type of flag of insurrection. And then Narendra Modi uses this to discredit the farmers' protest against oligarchic control of agriculture. Wait a minute. It turns out that guy was not a Sikh. He put the turban on to give that illusion. He's a friend of Narendra Modi. So we have instance after instance of the same playbook being used throughout the world now.
On the tech, he commissioned Google to work with the FBI and Palantir in Operation Warp Speed. So we actually sought their cooperation in doing this.
QAnon made Trump supporters, who were right to be angry, absolutely, over the criminal nature of our ruling class, delude themselves with fantasies that white hats in the military were going to save us, while Attorney General William Barr was busy covering up the Jeffrey Epstein case and the Kushner administration, which frankly was what the Trump administration was.
What are the odds? Just such a coincidence that Trump's lawyer is an Orthodox and he is a mega uber, literally sits on the board of the Zionist Organization of America. He was also Roger Stone's lawyer, and he's also Epstein's lawyer.
We really can't go without a day where the Simpsons have not predicted a major world event. However, the alleged photo of the Simpsons predicting the storming of the Capitol was photoshopped and pushed all over the internet to try to make truthers look bad.
This PSYOP was instrumental in the West at mobilizing, and they call themselves the light. Okay, David, but I call them the false light, because it's wrapped up in New Age, Gnostic, Freemasonic deception.
Just as opposition was outed and arrested by Operation Trust, potentially dozens of QAnoners were outed and arrested as a result of the March on the Capitol. Many of the neocons in our government are the literal descendants of Trotskyites.
This is the guy who was on camera saying that he likes to grab girls by the because he's famous and he can get away with it. This is the guy that cheated on his wife, I believe his pregnant wife, with Stormy Daniels, a star, and then paid her hush money and lied about it. This is the guy that when he's asked what is his favorite what's his favorite book, he says the Bible. What's his favorite verse? He can't even think of one verse. He doesn't know any.
Well, the truth is now terrorism. And the next New York Times story tells us that the First Amendment is now, quote, a virtual suicide bomb. So here's the New York Times trying to tell us that what is true is false. Ignorance is strength. Freedom is slavery. New York Times is all on board with it.
Nonsense. Is the United States military running the country, or just is that nonsense as well?
More nonsense.
Good to hear.
More nonsense. There's no plan.
And QAnon, over the period, has called for regime change in Iran, which is what Israel desperately wants.
You are being lied to. Proof the Capitol building insurrection was a setup. And in there, we talk about the FBI's involvement in this. And now, Proud Boys leader, Enrique Torrio, was an FBI informant.
Katrina Pearson, look what she says here. So true, when corporate media started talking about QAnon last summer, I had to look it up. Didn't even know what it was. Just another left-wing tactic to smear and discredit GOP conservatives. She says, they likely created Q. I called this a long time ago. Only the left would push for complacency. Just wait, it's coming. The plan is unfolding. The mind is strong force to fight against. Meanwhile, the left is organizing and the right still in 2000. The algorithm spoon-fed QAnon. Well, she's right about that. But it's not the left behind QAnon. It's Zionists.
And now what is happening, ladies and gentlemen, is that the power elite in this country are trying to break the back of the two major political parties, to destroy their constituencies, and to set in place in this country a new political elite, a new political superstructure at the highest levels, which is totally divorced from the grassroots people of this country. Folks, it is that simple. That is precisely what is happening.